I'm Theron Ramacharaka. Whether we talk about personal evolution and a systematic program for movement in that direction, or we talk about what may be called peak achievement training or maximum performance training, the two blend together, especially when we intend them to do so. For it is the case that effective and efficient personal evolvement, whether it be for movement in the direction of true selfhood or self-actualization, or for some lesser goal with some lesser end in mind, maximum performance in it will certainly make it more effective and efficient. So maximum performance training can be applied to it, and any bona fide form of self-evolvement or self-evolution or personal evolution will undoubtedly involve movement toward maximized performance in anything. So it is a good idea, well, the way I propose it, I consider it to be a good idea to engage in systematic methods and propose for you systematic methods and logical presentation of methods that involve both aspects, what's called peak achievement or maximum performance training, and systematic methods for movement in the direction of true selfhood. Now, let's just go at this right now in this video from the perspective of peak achievement training. I want to give you a few training preparation exercises to engage in, just to get started. To prepare for the training, do the following 3 things each day for the next 7 days. One is called goal familiarization. Just carefully go over your goals for such personal training. What do you expect to get out of it? What do you expect such training will do for you? So for the next week, for the next 7 days, put in some time each day to creating your answers to this question. What do you expect such training will do for you? What is it that you want to get out of it? Personal evolvement? And what for? Movement toward true selfhood? To lose weight? Quit smoking? Be of greater assistance to humanity? To develop a mood of calm confidence? To be more self-sufficient in life? What? What would be your goals? Why would you want to engage in maximum performance training or just one of its aspects, let's say, greater control over your mental faculties, such as attention? What do you want to get out of it? Not just what do you expect it will do for you, but what do you want to get out of it? Also, being a second question, why are you interested in it? These are just different ways to ask the same general question. So you must have clear goals. That is vital. You must know what you're aiming toward. And these will actually have to do with your goals, your overall life goals, what you want to get done, where you're moving toward in this life cycle. But a more narrow view of that same thing, your overall life goals would be, what do you want to get out of maximum performance training? What do you expect it will do for you? What do you want to get out of it? Why are you interested in it? And insofar as attention, just the mental faculty of attention is required for achievement of any kind in life, well, then answering this question just with respect to, let's say, peak achievement training, we'll be answering the question, your goals, establishing your goals, and just for this, we'll be addressing your goals in life. Number 2, in addition to becoming familiar with your goals, with respect to the training, which, as I said, dovetails into your life goals, actually. Number 2, for the next 7 days, a little preparation exercise in mental awareness. After awakening and before going to sleep, lie on your back on a cushioned surface such as your bed and perform the following procedure. Lift one of your legs into the air and let it fall. Just let it fall. Lift it again and let it fall. And do it a 3rd time. Same leg. However it lands this 3rd time, just leave it like that. Now do the same with your other leg 3 times. And then do the same with each arm and lastly with your head. And now for about 15 minutes, don't move any part of your body for any reason, except to look at a clock if you must. Try to arrange it so that you can see a clock if you cannot gauge about an approximate 15 minute duration without doing so. Try to arrange it so that you can see one without having to move your head. Or just guess at about a 15-minute length of time. But the point is, don't move any part of your body during this period for any reason at all. And meanwhile, allow your mind to wander on its own while not allowing it to pursue any course of thought. So give it freedom, but establish a rough parameter. Let it wander on its own while not allowing it to pursue any course of thought. And I want you to watch what happens when you engage in this endeavor. And like I said, I want you to do this after awakening and before going to sleep. That would be twice a day. If you can't get it in twice a day, get it in once a day, either after you get awake or before you go to sleep. This exercise increases your awareness of the current situation with respect to your mental activity. Take note to 3 things. Try to take note to 3 things. How rapidly your mind goes from one thought to the next. That's number 1. Number 2, the great variety of thoughts that arise. And number 3, the difficulty you have in simply allowing your mind to wander without pursuing any course of thought to any great extent. Those 3 things again to take note of are how rapidly your mind will go from one thought to the next, the great variety of thoughts that will arise, and the difficulty you have in simply allowing your mind to wander without pursuing to any great extent any specific course of thought. And the 3rd thing to do for the next 7 days is get some practice with controlled breathing. Here's how to do that. Each day after awakening and before going to sleep, practice breathing slow, full, abdominal breaths. And I will add, in addition to slow, full, and abdominal, rhythmic. That is, maintaining an even pace of exhale and inhale, and try to make the duration of inhales equal to the duration of exhales. Just keep it rhythmic and consistent. That's the attempt. It doesn't matter how good you are at it. It doesn't matter how good you are at it. I just want you to consider this a little bit of preparation. Each day after awakening and before going to sleep, practice breathing slow, rhythmic, consistent, full abdominal breaths. The exhale of an abdominal breath starts with air expelling from the upper lungs first, and with smoothly continuous motion proceeding downward, expelling air from the mid lungs and the lower lungs, and then from the upper abdomen, and so on until all air is exhaled. The inhalation of an abdominal breath works exactly in reverse to the exhalation. It starts with air coming into the lower abdomen and smoothly and continuously filling higher areas until even the upper lungs are filled with air. As you do this exercise, also practice holding in your full breath without locking your throat closed. Do not hold in a full breath by locking your throat closed. You must know how to do this form of breathing and holding in order to proceed into later parts of such training. Okay? So how long should you hold in your full breath? Approximately the same length of time that that you are using for an exhale or an inhale. So it'll be kind of like a three-part thing. All the way out smoothly, and then all the way in, and then hold. That's three things to do. Out, in, and hold. Each of about the same duration. If it's not comfortable, adjust it so that it is, but try to keep the exhale, the inhale, and the hold, the retention, of about equal duration. Try to keep it smooth, but it's not important if you screw this up. It's okay. This is just something to get familiar with doing. Once you get a little practice at it. And now, right now, take a moment out. Seriously ask yourself, are you really ready for this kind of commitment to engage in some real peak achievement, maximum performance, personal evolution training? Are you ready for this commitment, for this responsibility over your life? Let this next 7 days be your time of final decision over this. It is an important thing. It's an important thing to feel certain of. And I want you to use these 3 preparation exercises kind of as not just for their own purposes as laid out here, the things I want you to observe when doing them, but I want you to kind of use it as a little test run for yourself to see whether you can actually make this kind of commitment and stick with it. There are a few important reasons why I want you to think of it in this way during this next week that you do this. One is, when a person starts into such a program, a systematic program for themselves, and then they quit or just drop it off or kind of fizzle out of it, leaves them with a sense of that they started something grand in their life, some real moving forward, something that they had within their grasp, an actual way to do it laid before them, and then they just quit. There is the feeling that an opportunity was right there. In fact, they had crossed the threshold into that opportunity and then stopped. So the opportunity, they let it slip through their hands, and people usually end up with the feeling that once they've done that, it's harder to get back into it than it was to get started in the first place. I don't want that to happen to anybody. I want to be of service here, and I want it to be for your maximum performance and your personal involvement, and ultimately for your movement toward true selfhood. So I want you to understand that you must take responsibility for yourself in all of this. And understand that if you get started and then you fizzle out without having achieved any significant level of evolvement in these directions of personal evolvement and maximum performance just in general, then you've let yourself down on your personal responsibility that you started out in active pursuit over. So let this week be your time of final decision. Don't consider this week to be part of the actual thing. Consider it kind of a test run, and if the answer then is yes, I'm moving forward, I'm ready to take these steps. Then you can at that time consider that these 3 things that I've asked you to do for the next week are part of the training, because they are preparation. But if your answer is no, then consider it that you did a little preparation thing to find out whether your answer was yes or no. If you can't stick through this week and do this, just like I've asked, then how are you going to continue following a set of instructions or a systematic program of any kind for your personal evolvement? So just consider it then to have been a test. And don't feel disappointed at all if your answer is no. So if your answer is no, then stop, and you won't have reversed your final decision. So let this week be your week of final decision. If your answer is yes to it after this week, then you're already on your way. Like I said, remember, use this week to review your goals seriously. There is high payoff, but there is hard work ahead. Such hard work will change your life. How you handle it will determine the direction and the amount of that change. And it will start with your clear goals. Whether that is the first step taken after this kind of preparation, after this sort of preparation, whether you move into development of the mood of calm confidence that I lay out here, or whether you go straight into the extensive exercise or transmutation of your clarification and purification and transmutation of your goals and motives, whichever we actually do first here together, really logically, it starts with your clear goals.